Hey everyone, welcome to your Vin to Yin series. So before we get going with our practice, since today is day one, I thought I would spend just a minute talking about the focus and emphasis for our practices over the next 7 days. So the term Vin, of course, is short for vinyasa, so symbolizing the movements where we're linking the body's movements with the movement of breath. And Yin, embodying more than just Yin yoga, but Yin style of practices, the slower, longer held, restorative type of poses, Yin yoga, breathing practices, meditation. So the Vin representing more active movements and the Yin representing that active slowing down. So these practices over the next 7 days will all begin with some more active movement, and then the longer held poses will be done toward the end of the practice. And so you may find that these sequences are really great like midday or after you have gotten off work, before your evening, or even right before going to bed at night. So today's practice, we're going to emphasize working with the element of earth, which is associated with the first chakra, the root chakra. So the base of the spine, the pelvic floor, legs, and feet. So we're going to emphasize working in those areas of the body as we move throughout our poses today. So for the practice, you might find it beneficial to have 2 yoga blocks, a bolster or a pillow, and then 2 yoga blankets. So we're going to begin in the wide-kneed child's pose, possibly with a blanket support underneath of the knees. So big toes can come together, the knees can move wider apart, and then we're just going to hinge the body forward, coming into the wide-kneed child's position. So if you like, you can stack your palms and maybe rest your forehead onto your stacked palms. You could take your arms a little farther forward and set the forehead directly on the mat if that felt okay on your head and your neck. Taking a deep inhalation. And a deep exhalation. Taking another few cycles of breath here. Emphasizing the feeling of the breath across the back of your throat. And deepening both the in-breath and the out-breath. Okay, last inhale here. Last exhale. Using your next inhalation, bring your body up to all fours, tabletop pose. So the blanket can be used to support the knees, line the knees underneath of the front hip point, spread through your fingers. So as you breathe in, let your belly start to tip down toward the floor. You might even feel a little bit of a softening in your elbows as your heart lifts. And as you exhale, you're going to start to take the tailbone under, and you want to feel the pelvic floor muscles gently engage. So sometimes we use the terminology mula bandha, the root energy seal, right? So you're just going to breathe in and let the belly release and emphasize the relaxation now through the pelvic floor muscles. And as you're exhaling, press into your hands, and as you start to take your tailbone under, feel your belly button draw in And there's just a gentle toning in both the abdominal region as well as the pelvic floor. And one more time that way, just breathing in, allow the belly to release, consciously relaxing the muscles in the pelvic floor. And as you exhale, press into your hands, a very solid foundation. Take your tailbone under, feel your belly button draw in, tone through the pelvic floor. And then as you're breathing in, bring your spine back to neutral. So we're going to take the weight into the right knee. And you're going to take your left leg, extend through the left leg so that the ball of the left foot comes to the floor. Stay steady through your hands and just begin to gently pulse your left heel a few times. So press the heel back and then rock the heel forward. And as your left heel starts to rock back up, we're going to take the breath in and you're going to allow your left straight leg to lift up into the air. So a little higher maybe than parallel. You can tip your belly down toward the floor as your heart lifts. Now as you exhale, you're going to bring the ball of the left foot back to the floor, draw your belly in. Round in your back. So you're going to feel, again, that gentle toning or engagement at the pelvic floor. We're going to do that again. So you're going to inhale, float the left leg up. Feel yourself stretch through the back of the left knee, your heart lightly lifting. Exhale, bring the ball of the foot down. Draw the belly button in and round through your spine. And then inhale, float the left leg up, releasing through the belly, lift through the heart. So this time as you exhale, bring the left ball of the foot down, draw the belly in, engage through the pelvic floor. Stay here, or lift the hips a little higher, lift the right knee, and maybe lift the right foot away from the floor. So spreading through the fingers, feel your shoulder blades draw apart. So you have a little bit of a cat spine here. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, lower your right knee down and lower your left knee down. Tabletop, ground into the left knee. Extend out through the right leg. Ball of the right foot coming into the floor. And you're going to begin to press through the right heel. So there's just going to be this gentle pulsing of your right heel. Forward and back. Softness through your elbows as you feel that gentle pulsing. Okay, and then as your right heel comes up, we're going to take the breath in, float the right leg up into the air a little higher than parallel. Lift up through the center of your heart, and as you're exhaling, we're going to bring the ball of the foot down to the floor, press into the hands, and you want to consciously tone through the belly and through the pelvic floor. Now as you inhale, float the right leg back up into the air. Let your belly gently release as you lift through your heart. And as you're exhaling, bring the ball of the foot down. Draw the belly in. Draw the shoulder blades apart as you engage through the front body. Last one, inhale, float the right leg back up into the air. As you exhale, bring the right ball of the foot down. Press into your hands. Now stay there, or begin to take the hips up a little higher. Float the left knee, crouching plank pose. Maybe lift the left toes away from the floor, using the strength of the pelvic floor and the belly drawing in, as well as the anchoring of your hands down to help you sustain the pose. Last inhale. As you exhale, take your left knee down and your right knee down. Tops of the feet down. Inhale, let your belly release as you lift up through your heart. Exhale, knees are going to lift, downward facing dog. As you arrive here in the downward facing dog, pedaling out through your knees and your feet. Deep inhalation. Deep exhalation. Okay, so you're going to take your last Inhale here, and as you're exhaling, bring your gaze upward toward your hands and begin to step your feet forward. So you can come over your blanket. We'll use it in a moment for low lunge. So as your feet land, you can inhale, half lift, so hands on the blocks, the shins or the earth. As you press down into the four corners of your feet, feel your spine elongate. Exhale, fold into the legs. And as you're breathing in, let your knees begin to bend, sweeping your arms out to the side, rise up with your arms. And as you exhale, just let your arms go back out to the sides, sweeping your arms down by your legs. Take your breath in, sweep your arms back up by the sides of your face. Exhale, allow your knees to bend and fold your body forward over your leg. As you inhale, lift the spinal column halfway. And as you exhale, move the block slightly back and step the left foot back, high lunge. Lower the left knee down to the floor, low lunge. We're going to keep the body leaning just a little forward, chin is slightly in. Now as you exhale, we're going to press into the left ball of the foot, engage through the pelvic floor, and then lift the left knee powerfully away from the floor as you come back into a high runner's lunge. And then as you inhale, lightly lower the left knee down. And as you exhale, press into the ball of the foot, float the left knee away from the floor. And then one more time, you're going to take the left knee, lightly lower the left knee to the floor. And as you're exhaling, press into the back ball of the foot nice and powerfully to lift the back knee away from the floor. Now we're going to take a slightly shorter stance here. So the left toes are going to maybe step forward, maybe 2 to 3 inches. And you're going to slide your blocks out to the side. And you're going to inhale, let your arms sweep out to the sides. And then let them come to your heart in the prayer position. So you have a high lunge, but it's a slightly shorter stance. The back knee can even be slightly bent. Tailbone is down and the front ribs are in. You're going to start to lean the body a little bit forward. So we're going to transition from this position to a balanced pose of stork on the right foot. So you're going to bend the back knee a little bit more, engage to the pelvic floor, and then float the left leg up and forward so you come into the stork position. So you might maintain some engagement at the pelvic floor region to help sustain the balance pose. Reach up through the crown of your head. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, let your left foot and your arms come back down. Feet underneath of the hips, the arms down by the side, steady and strong mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up and along the sides of your face. Exhale, allow your knees to bend and hinge your torso forward over your legs. Inhale, hands on the shins or the floor, the blocks. Lift the spine halfway. As you're exhaling, step your right foot back, maybe with the blocks beneath the hands. Lower the right knee down to the earth. Okay, and then as you're exhaling, you're going to press powerfully into the right foot, engage through the legs and the pelvic floor to float the right knee back away from the mat. Inhale as you lightly lower that back right knee. And as you're exhaling, press into the floor, engage through the leg, and lift the right knee away from the mat. Last time, inhale, take the right knee down. And as you're exhaling, press into the right ball of the foot and float the right knee up. Now we're going to step that right foot maybe 2 to 3 inches forward. So just going to narrow the stance a bit and make the transition up to stork easier. So move the blocks to the side. Inhale, let your body rise up so your arms go out to parallel the floor. Allow your back right knee to bend and the tailbone to draw down. And then let your hands come together at your heart. So feel the pressure of your hands together in the center. Put a slightly deeper bend in the back knee as you lean forward, and then press off the right foot. Draw the right knee and thigh up toward the right ribs. Low front ribs draw in, and the heart area, the pectoralis area, is open and broad. Reach up through the crown of the head. Deep inhale and exhale. So one more inhalation, and as you exhale, begin to let your right foot and your arms come down, finding the mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up and along the sides of your face. Exhale as you bend your knees and swan dive your body forward over your legs. Inhale, lift your spine, halfway lift, and as you're exhaling, plant your hands and transition your feet into downward facing dog. Okay, holding here, taking an inhale, deep exhale. Deep inhalation. Deep exhalation. Okay, taking your inhale. And as you exhale, lightly bring your knees down to the floor. Bring your big toes together. Separate your knees wide. So you can sit back on your heels for a second. So here's where there's an option to use an extra blanket. You can take your blanket, the fringe will be going out to away from the hip creases, and the roll of your blanket can snuggle in to the hip creases. And then you're gonna take your body and we're just gonna fold forward one more time into wide knee child's pose with the blanket in the hip creases. So you kind of wanna hold the blanket there as you start that initial fold forward. Again, the forehead can go on your stacked palms or the forehead can go directly on the floor. So this is just going to draw a little more awareness into the low belly and into the hip area. It's also going to give us something to release and relax the front body into. Taking a deep inhale. And a deep exhale. Last inhalation. Last exhalation. Okay, and then you're going to let your body start to rise up to all fours. So we're going to take the blanket that we were using for the hips. We can just fold that back up and set it to the side. And we're actually going to come around to our seats. You can just gently swing the legs around. So we're going to take a pose I call the Yogi Leg Rest. And so for this pose, your bolster or your pillow or pillows might come in handy. So I like to create a ramp for the leg. So one block on mid-height, one block on its lowest height. And so the block on the mid-height is going to go toward the front short side of the mat. The lowest block is going to be more toward you. Then you're going to take your bolster support and ramp it up over your blocks. Okay, so we're used to making this ramp for the spine. Today we're going to use it for the legs. So we're going to scoot the hips a little bit to the left. We're going to do one leg at a time. So the left leg can go out along the floor, and the right leg is going to come up onto the ramp, and the pelvis is down on the floor. And then you're going to slowly lower down to your spine just as gracefully as you can. Okay, and just take any small movements or adjustments as you need as you arrive. Now, this right leg is very relaxed, so the heel drops down, the toes fall open, and same thing here for the left leg. You can let the heel drop down and the toes fall open. However, if you feel like you need extra support for your low back, I would encourage you to actually bend the left knee and place the left foot flat to the floor. Now, another option, if you have been using that second blanket, is to have that second blanket roll, and you could even place it over the low belly, even your whole body also, right? But maybe it's just almost like a mini sandbag. The gentle weight of the blanket creating a grounding sensation for the abdominal region. The arms can go down in a low V or open to the sides of the room. And just feel your breath circulating through the body. A very simple breathing exercise that can help shift us into a greater sense of calmness is just focusing on a longer exhalation. Breathing out maybe 1 to 2 or even 3 to 4 counts longer than the inhalation. Let's take about 1 to 2 more cycles of breath on this first side. Okay, and so we're going to transition just as simply as we can. So you might just bend your left knee, place the foot flat if it wasn't there already. We're going to just kind of shimmy the body to the right. So just scoot the shoulders to the right, the hips to the right. And so you're going to shimmy to the right until you can release your right leg from the bolster and extend your left leg out along the bolster. So for more support for your spine, you're going to bend your knee and place the right foot flat to the floor. Okay. Otherwise, both legs are extended. The arms are down by the sides. Palms may be upright. Shoulder blades releasing and relaxing down. Back of the head releasing and relaxing down. Here again, as you arrive, you might begin to consciously emphasize a longer exhalation. In a sense, to help cool and quiet the mind. Last 1 to 2 breaths here. To shift out of this position, we're going to allow the right knee to bend and the right foot to come flat if it's not already there. Slide the blanket support off to the side, and you can allow your left knee to bend and bring your foot flat to the bolster or the pillow. You're going to shift your hips slightly over to the left, and then we're going to gracefully roll over to the right side. Then using your hands to press down, you're going to rise upward to your seat. Okay, so let's adjust the bolster support so that we can take just a little bit of time in Shavasana. So maybe for today, if you're using these supports, you can take the blocks out forward, and those can be for your heels. And then your bolster can slide beneath your knees. So we're just creating this container of support, right? So you can scoot your hips a little closer to the bolster, let the backs of your knees land on the bolster, your heels land on your blocks. So feel free to adjust your props if needed before you go down. And then slowly coming back down onto your spine. So here, that blanket is there. If you like, you can place it once again over your low hips, or if you have a sandbag. So the element of earth is associated with feeling a sense of support, a sense of stability, and resiliency, right? So we can use the external supports in terms of our yoga props to create a more supported feel to our practice and to increase the element of earth in our practice as well as in our body and in our mind, right? So let your bones relax, natural rhythm of the breath. Now at your home, you can stay in this final Shavasana for as long as you'd like. If you feel ready to begin to shift, you can reach down first for the blanket and just start to slowly slide the blanket off of the front hip points. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. You can begin to create a little movement in your feet or your hands, eventually allowing your knees to bend so that your feet are coming flat to the bolster, your pillow, or the floor. And we'll roll the body over. So right or left side, just gracefully shifting to the side. And then pressing your hands down so that you start to rise up, coming to your seat. Okay, placing your hands together over your heart center in prayer. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within each of you. Namaste. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow's practice will emphasize the water element, the second chakra in the area of the hips and the sacrum. Have a good day.